Hello and welcome back to Her Becoming. My name is Kayla Countryman. I am your host. Thank you, as always, for joining me here today. If it is your first time here with us, Her Becoming is a personal development and holistic health and wellness podcast, helping you become the woman that you were sent here to be. And lately, our episodes have been very heavily focused on personal development and essentially becoming, as that is the entire essence of this show. But I want to get back to my roots and my intention of this show and start incorporating a little bit more of the holistic health aspect and bring y'all some fun and easy to implement education around ways to really utilize holistic health in your everyday life. And so that brings us to today's topic. Today we are talking about herbs, specifically how you can use herbs for everyday wellness, treating a bunch of different types of ailments, and just to help your body feel its best physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Herbs are one of the most powerful healing tools that is available to us for literally every type of wellness, and they don't get enough credit. Our society is so quick to just default to pills and pharmaceuticals, which absolutely has their place. I don't want to come off as someone that is anti-Western medicine. That is not the case. I am very pro-Western medicine. It has its time and place. It saves lives. It's important. That needs to be said. And also, herbs have been used for thousands and thousands of years to support the body through everyday ailments that we deal with constantly. So things like physical pain, inflammation, muscle soreness, blood pressure support, anxiety, stress, depression, mood swings, period symptoms, PMS, allergies, digestive issues. These are things that all of us deal with in one way or another. You can probably relate to at least 2 to 3 of those things I just listed off, and herbs can support you in treating those things, or at least in helping you reduce symptoms and make yourself feel better over. The beautiful thing about herbs is they work with the body rather than forcing the body into a response or creating a band-aid fix. So a lot of pharmaceuticals sort of just cover your symptoms or create a mask effect without treating the root cause, whereas herbs really work with the body and can help reduce inflammation, take away those symptoms you're experiencing, and help you get that long-term relief that you're looking for. They are incredibly supportive when they are used consistently, but I will caveat that with herbs are a long game. You take an Advil or a Tylenol, you get relief in 30 minutes. That's not going to be the case with using herbs. Herbs need to be used consistently over a longer period of time for you to see the results and for them to really work in their fullest power. So I don't want you to think that you can make 1 cup of tea and it's going to magically cure your period cramps or get rid of your headache. That is not at all how herbs work. Herbs require patience, and herbs require, again, just that long game and that commitment. So if you're someone that's constantly looking for a quick fix or not interested in adding herbs into your day-to-day routine, you may not be the best candidate for using herbs to improve your overall wellness. But if you are open to bringing some herbs into your life slowly but surely over time and witnessing the power that they possess, this episode is absolutely for you. Now, as always, I want to give the caveat, the disclaimer. I am not a certified herbalist. I am not a doctor or a naturopath. I am simply a woman who has been using herbs personally and researching them for years for my own health and wellness. I have an entire shelf in my cabinet at home that is just dedicated to my loose leaf herbs. I keep them in these mason jars. They're labeled, and I have about 10 of them that are my go-tos. So this is my experience. This entire episode is going to be talking about herbs that I personally use and why I personally like them and how they support me and my wellness. So this is not just a one-size-fits-all episode. As always, check with your doctor, talk to your naturopath, get blood work done. I get my blood work done a few times a year to check my hormonal levels and just where everything is at. Do your own research. don't blindly copy anyone's protocol ever when it comes to treating your body, and that includes my own. So do not just take this information blindly. This is meant to serve as education. Okay, so the first question that I always get when I post about my herbs on Instagram is, where do I find them? So I buy loose leaf herbs for the most part, and I find them at my local herb shop. You can look and check if your city has a local herb shop. If you are local to Phoenix, there is an herb shop in Mesa called SW Herb, and they have these massive jars of loose leaf herbs, and you can fill your own bags, measure them, calculate the price, and take them home. It's one of my favorite pastimes to just go to the herb shop and restock. You can also just go to the health food store. A lot of health food stores may have loose leaf herbs, but you can also get tea bags, especially if you're brand new to learning about herbs and you're not necessarily a tea drinker yet, or maybe you are a tea drinker and you have your go-tos, but you want to expand the types of teas that you are drinking to have more of a wellness benefit. Tea bags work just fine. Even I default to tea bags a lot when I do not have the time or capacity to be mixing up my loose leaf bags and letting them steep for so long. So my favorite brand for easy tea bag access is Traditional Medicinals. I love their quality of tea. You can find them at Sprouts, at your local grocery store. They have it pretty much everywhere as far as I've seen. That's going to be a little bit better quality than like the lower level basic tea bags. A lot of tea bags, unfortunately, are filled with like microplastics and filler ingredients. So Traditional Medicinals is one that I really trust and one that I think is really high quality. They also have a lot of just single herb teas. So all of the herbs that we cover today, you can actually go buy that type of herb in a bag from Traditional Medicinals, and they have it right on the shelf. So that makes it easy. Okay, so let's get into the herbs. I'm gonna start with just my favorite all-in-one herb, and then we're gonna break down different types of wellness ailments and reasons you may be looking to use herbs, and we'll talk about what herb supports each category. So first, if you take one herb away from this podcast, this is the one I want to recommend you introduce into your life because she's really that girl. Like, she supports almost everything, and it is nettle leaf. Nettle leaf. You may have heard of and already used nettle, or you may have never heard of nettle in your life. Before nettle got introduced to me, I had literally never heard of it. It was brand new to me. But nettle leaf is literally a powerhouse herb. It is extremely nutrient dense. It is filled with iron, magnesium, and calcium. It can support you in different ways with your hormones. It's really good for allergies. It supports blood building, supports energy levels. It's naturally anti-inflammatory, which means it can really help reducing pain in the body. And then it also supports your hair, skin, and nails. Nettle, in my opinion, is just like the one. She is one where if you're just getting started and you are interested in just taking it slow, taking it simple, I'd recommend starting with nettle because nettle truly fits into almost every single category of wellness. And that's why it's a staple in my home. I am never out of my nettle loose leaf tea. In fact, I need to like 5x the jar size of my nettle because it is just the base of every single mixture and concoction that I make. It's a great one to have for overall wellness or if you're treating a few different things. I will say, nettle does not taste great. I have gotten used to it so I can drink it plain, but it sort of tastes like dirt. Like, it just doesn't taste good. So if you're new to herbs and you're not really on like the earthy taste yet, I'd recommend mixing it with a more pleasant herb like spearmint or hibiscus, or you could just squeeze in lemon and honey and drink it that way. So think of nettle as the it girl herb. Again, if you take one thing from this podcast today, research nettle tea, get yourself some nettle, and start to drink it if it resonates with you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about different categories of wellness and which herbs support each of these categories. Again, in today's episode, I'm only sharing herbs that I use in my home, in my wellness routines. There are so many herbs out there. So many herbs. Like, there's so much to be discovered. This is just a tiny, tiny fraction. So take that as you wish. Do your own research. I only want to speak to my personal experience and what works for me, in the hopes that this kind of jumpstarts your interest and helps you maybe discover how you can use herbs in your life. So the first one is the biggest reason why I started using herbs, and to this day, the main reason I still use them, and it is period support. So support with PMS symptoms, support with reducing cramps, reducing the intensity of my period. I used to have really bad periods, and I'm not going to say herbs are the only reason that my periods had gotten better, but it definitely helps. I can say that confidently. I notice a difference in my periods when I am drinking my herbal teas that I make before my period and on my period versus when I am not. A big difference. Herbs can be incredibly supportive for overall cycle health, for cramps, and just for menstrual wellness in general. But I want to also, again, caveat, it's especially important with this to know where your hormone levels stand. People often use the term hormone balancing meals, hormone balancing teas, hormone balancing protocol, but that doesn't really mean anything, because what hormones are you balancing if you don't know what your levels are? You might have high estrogen, high testosterone, low testosterone, high progesterone, low progesterone, high cortisol, low cortisol. If you don't know where your levels are, then just drinking this random hormone balancing tea that you see on Instagram isn't going to magically balance your hormones. So I want to throw that out there. I think that term gets thrown around a lot, and it can be dangerous. It can be dangerous to just randomly take advice off of TikTok or off of random content that you're seeing and just start doing it with the hopes of balancing your hormones. So above all, I'm always going to recommend getting your hormones checked out and looked at, knowing where your levels are, and then go from there and really understand. Now, a lot of these herbs I'm about to share are completely safe to use just based on the symptoms that I'm going to share. You'll know whether you can use them or not. But again, when in doubt, get your levels checked. Okay, so starting off with one of the most well-known women's health herbs, red raspberry leaf. Red raspberry leaf helps to tone the uterus. It's really great for relieving menstrual cramps. It can overall reduce the intensity of your period, and it just supports your reproductive health. You may have heard of women who are close to giving birth drinking raspberry leaf tea to give themselves a natural induction into labor. That's just one of those old wives' tales, ancient wisdom things that people do. But red raspberry leaf tea is really, really great for relieving cramps and just overall making your period less aggressive. So I like drinking red raspberry leaf tea daily, a few days before my period, and then definitely while I'm on my period. Even better if you can drink it daily 7 to 10 days before your period and then continue it while you're on your period. I am a daily tea drinker. I drink tea every single morning, but I adjust it based on where I am in my cycle. So when I am about to start my period or on my period, red raspberry leaf tea is really my main ingredient of my teas. And that is, again, for cramp support and just reducing the intensity of the period itself. Another great one for period support is nettle leaf. You're going to hear me say nettle in basically all of these categories. And it's so great because it's rich in iron, which helps replenish the blood loss while you're bleeding, but then it also reduces inflammation and can help with cramps and fatigue as well. A lot of pain in the body is just simply caused by inflammation. Dare I say most pain in the body is simply caused by inflammation. So when we're talking about cramps and headaches and lower back aches that we experience during menstruation, a lot of that is just driven by inflammation. So drinking nettle leaf and incorporating it, mixing it in with red raspberry leaf tea can really help and be supportive. Another one that I love during my period and just overall is spearmint. Spearmint is very gentle and very powerful as an herb. When you're on your period, it can help with nausea. I know a lot of us experience just that morning nausea feeling early on in your period. So the mint helps with that. And it can also help reduce androgen levels, which is helpful for hormonal acne or PCOS. Again, this is where you really want to know your numbers. A few years ago, I had really severe acne and I was willing to do anything. So I was in the TikTok rabbit hole of finding things that I could do to get rid of my acne. And one of the things that kept coming up was drinking spearmint tea every single day. So I went on a spearmint tea journey, drinking it multiple times a day because TikTok said it would get rid of my acne. But what it actually does is can help reduce your testosterone. So it's helpful if you have acne that is driven by high testosterone. But when I got my numbers checked, I actually had a lower testosterone. So I didn't need to be drinking spearmint tea every single day. So that's just a little story, again, about why you should get your levels checked. Spearmint tea, it's just mint. It's not going to create any harm when used in moderation. I still drink it very often, but again, the more you know. The next herb that can really be beneficial with period support is Vitex, which is chaste tree berry. Vitex is a more deep hormonal herb. It's not something that you can just kind of incorporate into one part of your cycle. It really needs to be used over time, and you really need to know where your hormone levels are at before you incorporate Vitex into your day-to-day. But Vitex supports progesterone balance. It helps regulate your cycles. It can support PMS symptoms and is often used to help with breast tenderness and mood swings as well. So it is a very powerful one. It is one that, depending on where your hormone levels land, a lot of doctors really do recommend taking this daily. But again, to each their own. Look into it, talk to your doctor, the more you know. Okay, we're gonna cover 2 more herbs under period support. This section has the most herbs in it because there are just so many ways to support ourselves when we're on our period. So the next one is ginger. Ginger is really incredible for period support because it's anti-inflammatory, it helps reduce cramping, it supports your circulation, which is really important during your period, and then it also helps with nausea. So to me, I know I told you guys nettle is the it girl. I use nettle all the time, but ginger is my morning tea. Every single morning, the first thing that I consume is my ginger tea, usually with a squeeze of lemon in it, or maybe mixed with raspberry leaf or nettle, depending on where I'm at in my cycle. I drink it every single morning, and my morning doesn't even feel right without it. This is where I use tea bags. I buy the traditional medicinal ginger tea bags, and I use a tea bag every single morning for my ginger tea. I also do keep loose leaf dry ginger in my pantry, and that's really great for blending in with my loose leaf mixtures, but I go for ease in the mornings each day, and I just have my cup of ginger tea. So that's a really great thing to incorporate as an anti-inflammatory just for overall. And then the last one we'll touch on with your period is rose. Rose is really amazing for emotional and physical menstrual support. It supports emotional balance. Rose is a very feminine herb, right? It comes from the flower. It supports emotional balance. It helps regulate your mood. It's mildly anti-inflammatory. The more the merrier when it comes to anti-inflammatories. And then it's also a gentle uterine support. So this is something that I'll just add into my mixtures if I want that rosy flavor and just to add a little bit of femininity into the mix. My go-to when it comes to period support is to create a mix of raspberry leaf, nettle, spearmint, rose, or hibiscus, which we'll get to later. And I mix those together. I steep them in mason jars for about 30 minutes, and then I sip on that all throughout my period. So I make as many batches as I need to, and it is just my daily hot or iced. It doesn't matter. I'm sipping it through my period. And that has been really beneficial to me over these last couple of years. So that is period support. Like I said, that was the most dense section. I'm not here to overwhelm you like that with every section. But if you're listening to this podcast and you're curious about herbs, there's a high chance that you're looking for that reproductive support, that period support. So that's it for you. Okay, next we're going to get into digestion and stomach support. I know a lot of my girlies have tummy issues. And so we're going to talk about how digestive issues can be supported with a couple of simple herbs. So the first one that we'll get into is spearmint. We already talked about spearmint, but we're bringing it back. Spearmint is great for after meals. You can also do peppermint, but personally, I just love spearmint tea. Some benefits of spearmint tea related to digestion and tummy support. It relaxes digestive muscles. It helps relieve bloating and also gas. It can soothe nausea. We talked about that with your period. And then it also supports overall digestion. So this is why in so many cultures, it's common to have a cup of mint tea after your meal. That is something you can very easily incorporate into your life, is having a cup of spearmint or peppermint tea after dinner each night. That is going to help calm your body down, support your digestion, relieve that bloating, and it's something easy and attainable for all of us. Another one that's a digestive powerhouse is ginger. Ginger is back. Again, she's anti-inflammatory. She helps stimulate digestion and reduce nausea, and she also helps the stomach empty properly and supports gut motility. So ginger is a really great soothing herb to help support your digestive tract overall. And then last but not least, with digestion and stomach support is dandelion leaf. So dandelion leaf is amazing for digestive and also liver support. It's really known for supporting liver detoxification. Our liver has a very important job of removing toxins from our body. So where dandelion leaf really shines is for supporting that liver detoxification, encouraging bile production, helping with the digestion of fats, and it's also a mild natural diuretic, so it helps reduce water retention as well. Dandelion leaf is a really great one to incorporate if you have any sort of digestive issues, and also if you know that your liver needs extra support. I am someone who knows, based on my blood work, that I need help detoxifying further and helping my liver with that process. So dandelion leaf is one that I keep in my pantry. I also use castor oil packs for this, but it's definitely one to look into, and again, just another powerhouse herb. Okay, so we've covered period support, we've covered digestive and stomach support. Next, we're getting into allergies. As we transition into spring, the sneezes and the sniffles are upon us. If you're already feeling it, this one is for you. And I'm only highlighting one herb here, and it's our it girl. It is nettle leaf. Nettle is one of the most popular herbs for seasonal allergies, and it works. If you are sneezing, runny nose, itchy, swollen, sinus congestion this time of year, get nettle tea. Nettle is a natural antihistamine. It helps reduce sneezing and itching, and it also supports your respiratory health while reducing inflammation in the body. A lot of people across a lot of different cultures drink nettle tea daily during allergy season because it is that powerful. And the other thing you can do for your allergies, if you're not aware of this already, is consume local honey. Local is key here. Consuming honey from your local area is going to help you adjust to your specific pollen and allergens within your city. So even better if you get some nettle tea and then also buy your local raw honey and mix those two together, drink daily. Chef's kiss. So that's allergy support. Let's get into one that I know we all struggle with in some way, shape, or form: anxiety, mood, sleep, and stress. How can herbs support us with our mood, with our anxiousness, and with our quality of sleep? Let's talk about a few that are just really supportive overall for the nervous system. So first and foremost, in my opinion, the star of this show is lemon balm. Lemon balm is one of my personal favorites for sleep. It calms the nervous system. It helps tremendously with anxiety and stress. It can also help you improve focus. It helps you get to sleep quicker. And it's also a gentle mood lifter. So it's really a great option as an evening tea. It'll have you sleeping great, let me tell you. Some people report that it gives them crazy dreams. That has never happened to me. Again, do your own research. But when I know that I'm having trouble sleeping or going to feel a little bit more anxiety, lemon balm is one of my go-tos. On the mood and mental health side of things, hibiscus is amazing. If I could pick a favorite herb solely based on taste, it would be hibiscus. She is like this gorgeous purple color, and she's so good. She's naturally sweet. Sometimes hibiscus is referred to as a happy herb because it really does support your mood, and it's refreshing and uplifting, but it also has health benefits. It's high in antioxidants, it supports heart health and a healthy blood pressure, and then it's also amazing in other tea blends. So I like to mix hibiscus into my period support blend, or like I said, mix it with nettle just to help with the taste, and it's incredible iced. So one of my favorite things to do in summer is make a tea blend, so hibiscus and whatever else that I'm using, And then I freeze lemon juice in my ice trays to make lemon ice cubes. And I pop some of those lemon ice cubes into a glass of this tea. And it's kind of like a DIY healthy Arnold Palmer, but like so much better than an Arnold Palmer because it's none of the artificial crap. It's just straight herbs and pure lemon juice. And it is so good. Another one that's really great for the nervous system is oat straw. Oat straw has a lot of different benefits. It is considered like a multivitamin herb because it is so rich in minerals. It supports the nervous system. It helps with burnout and chronic stress. It supports mental clarity. Oat straw is a really amazing herb for people who feel depleted or overwhelmed. You're stressed with work, you feel burnt out. Oat straw is a really great one to mix into your blends. I personally have never tasted oat straw on its own. I always mix it in, so I cannot speak to its taste. But based on its name and how it looks, I'm going to assume it's a little dirt tasting as well. So you might want to mix that one in, but it is an incredibly powerful herb. And then lastly, under the mood support, stress, and sleep realm is rose. We talked about rose with period support. Again, it's just really great for the heart and for emotions. It's a feminine tea. It's going to help regulate your mood, uplift you a bit, and it's really great for self-care rituals, especially for women. So rose is one that you can add into your shelf as well. All right, moving right along. I know this is so much information. I will drop the names of all of these herbs in the show notes, I promise. So you don't need to worry about like taking notes or figuring out how to spell something right now. I'm going to put all of these in the show notes for you. We have one more section to get through, and that is immune support. So this one is key. I know that cold and flu season is coming to an end right now, but still, just for overall immune support, here are a couple of my favorite go-tos. The most popular of the immune herbs is elderberry. I'm sure you have heard of, tried, had elderberry in some capacity. Grocery stores sell the heck out of elderberry in like the syrups and the cough drops and the gummies. And a lot of those are just filled with fillers and sugar and just crap. Like a lot of them are. Not all of them, a lot of them are. But when you buy dried elderberries and keep them in your pantry, you have an incredibly healing herb that you can do so many things with. Elderberries are high in antioxidants. They support immune response. They are known for shortening the duration of a cold, and they support respiratory health. So a lot of people take elderberry as a syrup during the winter months. When I feel the start of sickness coming on, or I'm about to travel, or I feel I've been exposed to some sort of illness, I like to put elderberries into a big pot of water and simmer them on the stove and just create a really strong tea. And I'll mix in cinnamon and lemon and honey. It also mixes great with other herbs, but that's something that you can do that is going to be so much better than buying those sugar-filled elderberry gummies or anything else that is just filled with fillers. Now, there are some really great elderberry supplements out there, so I'm not knocking all of them, but how much cooler to have your own stash of elderberry in the house and then be able to make it from scratch when you need it. The last herb we'll touch on today, and specifically for immunity, is echinacea. Echinacea is a classic immune herb, another one that you see in every immunity tea, immunity supplement. It's everywhere. Echinacea stimulates immune activity and really helps the body fight off infections. So it's really often used at the first sign of illness to get your immune system to kick into action. So this is a great one. When I create that tea on my stove with elderberry, I usually just add echinacea in as well, because these two work together like a dream team. Those are all of the herbs that we will cover today. I know that was a lot. Again, I will drop them in the show notes. How I specifically use herbs in my life, I love loose leaf teas. So I love going to that herb shop near me, filling up my jars, and being able to make my own mixtures and blends. That works for me because I have been doing this for a few years now. So I'm very familiar and I'm very comfortable. It doesn't need to be that complicated. Like I said, you can buy tea bags, you can start slow, but there's just so many ways to use these herbs, my favorite being for cycle support and immune support. But based on today's episode and how many herbs we just covered, you see how much of a range of ailments and symptoms that herbs can really help with. Herbs are also one of the most accessible forms of wellness that we have. I went to my local herb shop yesterday and I filled up, I want to say 7 different like quart-sized plastic Ziploc bags of herbs to fill my jars, and I spent $30. They are affordable, they are gentle, they are supportive, and my favorite part is they're rooted in ancient traditions of healing. Herbs are not new. Herbs are not a pill that you just take and cover the symptoms. They've really been used for centuries and centuries to heal us from the inside out. And you don't need to become an herbalist overnight. You don't need to incorporate all 10 or 11 of these herbs into your diet right now. I'd recommend picking 1 or even 2 to really research and look into based on whatever it is you're looking to feel better in. And then just notice how it can create such a shift in your body and in your everyday wellness. Thank you for letting me nerd out on herbs with you today. I am obsessed. I love my herb shelf. I love going to the herb store. I love talking about herbs. So if you have questions and you want to learn more, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to chat with you. Again, I am not a certified herbalist. Maybe one day I will be because I love them that much, but I'm always, always, always happy to talk about them. So that is it for today's episode. I am sending you all of the love and all of the healing. As always, like, subscribe, rate, review, share this with someone that is curious about herbs, curious about holistic healing, and really into Eastern medicine and how we can use these ancient practices to heal our bodies today. If you have feedback on these topics or you want to hear more about something, want me to dive deeper, I am always, always, always an open book. So I'd love for you to reach out and let me know. I will see you on the next episode, and until then, be well.